We are back for the sorry guys. We are back for the Imola Grand Prix this year, which begins the second triple header of the year. Man, I have my work cut out for me. Anyways, this track is of course based in Italy, which means this is Ferrari's first home race before Monza later in the year. Ferrari have had highs and lows here. Moments such as Alonso defending against Michael in a shitbox in 2005 for the win have been highs, and Leclerc in an equal car getting intimidated by Sergio Perez and spinning in 2022 have been lows. But through it all, none of it has mattered since both years led to nothing at all for the team. Anyways, while the track is historic, serious conversations must be had around here. Since its return in 2020, Imola has been the host of some boring ass nothing races. I mean, there was 2021 with all of its chaoticness, but it was also raining, so it kinda doesn't count. Like, 2020 featured nothing until Max's tire failure spiced things up at the end. 2022 featured nothing except Lewis being stuck behind Gasly. 2023 literally gave us nothing since rain didn't go away or come again a different day, and you guessed it, 2024 featured absolutely nothing. This problem isn't even exclusive to F1 since WEC suffers from the same issues. So like Jamie Carragher said, but in F1 terms, leave the racing before the racing leaves you. For Imola, the racing has left. And this isn't even a crazy thing to say since the majority of fans don't mind this historic track leaving. Just not for a shitty street track, please. Anyways, the 2025 season has arrived here, so let us start the weekend by seeing the upgrades teams have brought, the drama leading up to the weekend, the ones to keep an eye on for, and of course, my hot, steamy, and non-delusional predictions for Imola. So go join the Discord to make your predictions and experience the weekend live, and subscribe if you're new if you think pineapple on pizza is blasphemy. So enough yapping, and here is the Imola weekend preview.
See those clouds up in the corner? That's where the rain is coming from.
As always, upgrades first, and considering the European portion of the calendar starts now, we can expect upgrades for almost every single team on the grid. Most teams are based in Europe, so it only makes sense especially for the teams based in Italy. But of course, remember, the teams mentioned are based on nothing but speculation, so this information may not be 100% accurate, but it does give a general gist of who to watch out for in the weekend. Anyways, let us begin with Sauber, and these guys need to figure something out because they are on the verge of mid. Miami was great until it wasn't, but they could still work with something there. Jonathan Wheatley is clearly passionate about his job and wanting to better the team, and Lord knows they need it. If the Audi reports are to be taken for true, then they really have their work cut out for them. So I would say the strat is to do as well as possible and get as much cash as they can, and if they fail, oh well, at least they get extra wind tunnel time. But yeah, Sauber on the verge of hitting mid from trash, so let us hope they improve. Next up, I have Alpine, who probably won't bring anything major, but they'll likely still bring some minor parts. This race is huge for them since this is Colapinto's first race with the team, and like he did at Williams, he wants to set a good first impression. However, Alpine at this stage are doing something very clearly wrong. Like, they're still 9th in the standings with no indication of where they truly are. They're really confusing because one race they're contending in Q3 like in Bahrain, and another race like Miami they got in Q1 with no hope for points. I would imagine Alpine are trying to round out their car so they could be mostly good everywhere, kind of like late last year, so let us watch them with great interest. Next up is Racing Bulls, and V-Carb may have something big in store. Toro Rosso is of course based in Italy, and with their rivals catching up and fighting them more, they have got to bounce back. Luckily, Minardi have one and sometimes two great drivers and a fast car to work with, so major upgrades could be expected here. I don't know how much more I have to say it, but I'll continue saying it. Isaac Hadjar has been extremely classed this year, so even though it's not predictions time yet, I'm going to predict a P8 quali position and a P7 points finish. Liam Lawson is also here as well, so a big weekend is potentially ahead for AlphaTauri. Next up is Haas, and unlike with Sauber, they are on the verge of greatness. Every single week they have scruffy qualies, but somehow end up close to or scoring points in the weekend. It's clear the car works well in race trim, but it just lacks that one lap pace potential, so some era upgrades are definitely needed for them, which can maybe push the drivers into being full-on point scorers at every single opportunity. At this point, I think Williams are too fast and good for Haas for now, so I would say their strategy probably has to be defending their spot as 6th in the standings and just bolstering everything in the team, so maybe they could fight Williams later. Either way, Haas should have a nice weekend around here that hopefully gets them big points. Now for the top dogs, and dare I say chat, we start with Williams. I would consider them top dogs since Albon was ahead of both Ferraris and holding Mercedes in the race, and Sainz would have done the same too if it weren't for bad luck, and Williams want to ride this momentum, I bet. So the upgrades here won't be huge ones, but they'll still be a push towards greater things. Albon has been amazing, man, and it is just nice seeing he is proving everybody wrong. I have always said he was good and being disrespected when everyone was counting on him last year, and have never spoken bad about him, obviously, man. Okay, sarcasm aside, I am glad he is proving me and you wrong, since on a real note, I knew he always had it in him, and Sainz is finally getting accustomed to the car, so another big weekend is potentially ahead for Williams. Next up, I have Ferrari. Please guys, please. The video I just made about them was a cry for help, and while I don't expect anything huge from them, I just want to see a step in the right direction. Like, come on. This is your first home race. Surely you won't fuck this one up again, right? I don't know. I just hope things will look better here and Miami can be forgotten about entirely. The only bright spot this year has been our drivers, since they're making up so much. And at this point, just give them proximity, chat. Guarantee you they would make better strategies on the pit wall. Finally, I have Mercedes here. I have nothing to say about them since there's really no outlying issues with them so far. They're just slower than McLaren and need to find some tents so they could properly challenge them. We know George has the pace to go toe-to-toe with Lando and Oscar, and Kimi Antonelli is finding more pace with every single weekend, so as long as that car can find a couple more tents, we could be on for another title fight. But who knows? So let's get into the stories from Miami, which we do know, and we of course have the big news with Colapinto and Doohan. Before we get into that though, guess who got his first bingo thing filled? Yeah, I know, I'm the greatest of all time. Anyways, the seat news. Let us have a 10-second moment of silence for Jack Doodoo. Too soon? Anyways, my actual thoughts are mixed because, like, was he slacking compared to Gasly? Yes. Was he not maximizing his results? Yes. But like, the dude is 6 races old. I mean, I think I've said this before, but who does Briatore think Doohan is? Does he look at anomalies like Hamilton and think every single rookie needs to be like that? Like, yeah, Jack wasn't doing amazingly, but he wasn't backmarker level. There was potential there for him to cook later on. I mean, we saw it at times like in Bahrain. I just feel bad for him, but alas, nothing can be done. The Argentinians are simply too unemployed to be silent, and we have to welcome Colapinto back in. And in all honesty, I don't think Franco will do too much better than Jack. I mean, he'll be slightly faster and show slightly better racecraft, but it won't be a drastic change. If Jack was qualifying P14, Franco will get P11 average. Oh, and in case you didn't know, while Franco was signed on by Alpine to replace him, Franco, in typical Briatore fashion, got a whopping 5-race contract until a decision is to be made again. Imagine if Doohan gets back in the car by Silverstone. Anyways, next up, I have the news of Carlos Sainz Sr. potentially running for FIA president and replacing FERRARI. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Sainz Sr., he's cool and popular. He should totally be the next FIA president. And yes, it does sound very enticing, but let me break it down for you. We had Jean Todt the Good before, who, I don't know if he did any good, but he was on the news as much, so I assume he did good. He stepped down and was replaced by FERRARI, who is an insecure man who wants to be loved by ruining the sports we love. From the drivers to the fans, no one likes him and shouldn't get re-elected. This then leads to Sainz Sr. joining, and he is of course the father of Sainz Jr. in F1, who himself is the director of the GPDA, or the Grand Prix Drivers Association. And imagine if Sainz Jr. has a secret child who's actually his age and becomes the race director. This isn't the sunshine and rainbow story everybody thinks it is. This is us going from FERRARI to Emperor Sainz as the Sainz dynasty. Are things better, or is this us under new management? Find out next week on Friday at 9 p.m. PST or 8 Central Time. Obviously, I'm just joshing. I think Sainz Sr. as FIA president would go hard, but I don't know anything about it, so I can't even say a thing. Also, Sainz Sr. has denied the rumor, so who truly knows? Finally, I have the news with Oliver Oaks' brother being arrested for smuggling or something. I don't know the details, nor do I really care, but I'm mentioning this because it is just absolutely hilarious. So in case you didn't know, Oliver Oaks' brother, who has a name I guess, got arrested in Dubai for some pretty serious crime, which has led to Oaks' resignation from Alpine as team principal, and who replaced him? Flavio Briatore, baby. I love to imagine that this was some big plot by Briatore who planted whatever incriminating evidence was found on Oaks' brother, which led to his arrest and Oaks' resignation, which allowed his takeover. It would be so in character, and if this was true, I don't think anybody would be surprised in the slightest. Anyways, keep Alpine in your prayers, everybody. The Briatore regime has begun. Now for who to keep an eye on for, and I have Ferrari because this is their first home race of the season, and we could just overall expect extra upgrades and extra morale for the team, which if you watched my last video, you would know Lord, they need him more than anybody else right now. So with all of that said and done, it is predictions time for the weekend. As always, it must be stated that we will predict 3 things: the top 5 in the quali, the top 5 in the race, and a random prediction from any session. It should also be noted that these predictions are based on nothing but pure vibes, so bear with me. No sprints this time around, so let's begin with quali predictions, and I predict that the top 5 on Saturday, starting with 5th, will be Kimi Antonelli, and 4th will be Max Verstappen, and 3rd will be Charles Leclerc, and 2nd will be Oscar Piastri, and for pole position I have Lando Norris after a tight qualifying session. Now for the race predictions, and starting with 5th I have George Russell, and 4th I have Lewis Hamilton, and 3rd I have Kimi Antonelli, and 2nd I have Oscar Piastri, and the winner of the Imola Grand Prix is Charles Leclerc. I'm not delusional, you are. Now for my random prediction, and in case you didn't notice, I believe there will be a turn 1 chaos involving both McLarens and Max, which sees Max and Lando out of the race and Oscar with damage only. Also, make sure to join my Discord to make your predictions for the weekend and have a chance to appear in the winners and losers. And that was my weekend preview for the Imola Grand Prix. I know I just made a video saying how I'm fed up with Ferrari, and trust me, I am, but let a man dream, okay? I still want what's best for them, and I just hope that somehow, some way, they could pull a result out of their ass. But I wouldn't be surprised if my random prediction ends up affecting Ferrari and not McLaren. Oh well, I think we could be in for a spicy race, so let us hope and pray. Anyways, I want to give a quick shout out to all members of the vlog for their continued support. Make sure to join in if you want cool benefits, as well as just helping me out. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe since it really helps me out. Make sure to let me know in the comments what your predictions are. And as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.